Last night, I had a chance to discuss sexual harassment, which seems to be rampant in the media world, with ABC legal analyst Dan Abrams. Those stories reflect the bigger issue on a very real societal problem facing women in every industry. But tonight, we want to turn our gaze to a different subject, the media itself, journalism, and the state of the fourth estate. The digital age has complicated matters for a once robust industry. Profit margins are shrinking, and perhaps more worryingly, so is public trust. Fake news has become a presidential catchphrase, putting the news media and everyone who considers themselves a journalist on the defensive. So what are the bigger issues here? Besides being a great legal mind, Dan is also the founder of Mediaite and a number of other sites. Mediaite covers the intersection of media and politics, and we are delighted to have him back here on Metrofocus to chat some more.
Good to be back with you.
When you and I talk, my first thought is always when we were both much younger.
Yeah,
and getting
back
started
in the day.
this business.
Back in the day.
And our hair wasn't as, it was
yeah.
different color at the time. But it's always great to chat with you, Dan. So let's start off with a bigger picture about media and distrust. Why do you think it's become such an issue? You know, you going back to, again, when you and I got started, you know, people trusted the media. They believed in the media. And at least if we are going to believe polls, and, you know, polls can be a lot of things, there seems to be a serious erosion of that trust. Why do you think?
I think it's a combination of factors. I think part of it is self-inflicted. I think that the media has at times demonstrated recklessness in reporting. I think at times the media has demonstrated bias, typically to the left bias. And with that said, I think that, for example, President Trump is vastly overstating the issues. So I'm not going to say it's somewhere in between, but there's a lot of blame to go around as to how the media set the stage for something like President Trump coming in and saying nothing that the mainstream media reports that's negative about me is true, when, of course, that's not the case.
Let me talk about the introduction of opinion to the media. Now, opinion has always been an important part of journalism. It's, you know, Thomas Jefferson said, opinion is power. There have always been editorial pages. But when you and I were starting in the business, if you let your opinions seep into your reporting, you'd literally get yanked off the air. Now you have to look around and say, are there any platforms that are not driven by opinion?
And it's interesting because, you know, the evening newscasts, right? They're still not supposed to be opinion-based programs. But Jeff Glor was just announced the evening news for CBS. Most people are saying, who? And what is he going to be doing? My point is that the cable news hosts, the Hannitys, the Maddows, the Don Lemons of the world out there are getting so much more attention for what they're doing. They're so much more relevant to the national debate than the evening news. I mean, again, when we were, you know, coming up in this, the idea of being the anchor of the CBS evening news was one of the great jobs in America. But it's so interesting to me is how much things have changed and moved to the opinion, the talk radio, cable news, have become the dominant players. And, you know, even think about it when President Obama or President Trump meets with journalists quietly. It's the opinion people, because they want them to understand the issues, because they're the ones who are going to go out there and take a position.
It's funny because it used to be a compliment if a viewer would bump it in the street and say, you know, I saw this interview you did or this series of interviews you did, and I want to tell you, at the end of it, I still don't know where you stood.
But I think that
on the issue.
I still think that is a compliment.
Yeah, I still look at it as a compliment.
I still think it is a compliment. I mean, because getting back to your question about why people don't trust the media, if you're the guy people see as being fair, you're a guy people can trust, you're now one of the few. And then you become that much more important. If people can break through this current media environment and be seen as being fair, that's not easy.
But you wonder about, that's the public side of it. How about the business side of it? Because if you and I, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you and I go to any one of the cable networks out there and you say, look, we've been around in this business a long time, and we'd like to think we've you know, established some credentials, and we want to do a show, primetime evening show, where we're going to take a hard look at all sides of significant issues here. And by the way, we're not going to jump in and say, here's what Dan thinks or here's what Jack thinks, but we're going to have great guests on and we'll find out what they think on both sides. And there'll be animated debate and dialogue. But we're not taking a point. Are we going to get a show?
Well, no, for a lot of reasons. But it's interesting because I think that Fox, MSNBC, and CNN would all claim they do that during the day.
Right.
They would all claim that our anchors let the guests have the debates. And yet, it's not really true.
Until the sun goes down.
Right, well, until the sun goes down, except that even story selection becomes a potential area for bias, right? You watch Fox and you watch MSNBC, and even during the day, and their focus is totally different. Both of them would say, look, we have hard news reporters, we have people on both sides, but they're just focusing, Fox is focusing an enormous amount on Hillary Clinton still.
Talk about the introduction of digital platforms, and you've had great success now with a variety of digital platforms. How do you think that has changed the notion of the news media?
It's forced the hand of the mainstream media, and it's led to much more accountability. It used to be that the mainstream media were the gatekeepers. They would decide, this is news, this isn't news. These days, if they decide something isn't news, and many people on social media get out there and say, these guys aren't covering this, and they've got a point, then the mainstream media, whoever it is going to have to respond and have to react. I mean, it is a tough time to be, at a straight news operation. And when I say that, it is important to remember that even, the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, right, two of our most venerable publications who tend to lean left and tend to lean right, are in really tough spots when it comes to how to cover news. Because so many people are now saying, I will never read the New York Times, or I will never read the Wall Street Journal, or I will never watch Fox News, or I'll never watch ABC and CBS and NBC. But it's not necessarily fair. And I think what's unfair is the notion that ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, as the president has suggested, are all making up stories about him. They aren't making up stories about him. You can say that they tend to politically be against him. Okay, that may be fair.
President Jimmy Carter came out and said the media is spending more attention on Donald Trump and his missteps, tougher than anybody else.
Than they've ever been on another president. And that may be right. But that doesn't mean that each of the reports that are negative about the president aren't true. It's like anything. It's like we do in the law. You've got to look at these issue by issue, case by case. And the bottom line is that in the vast majority of instances, when the mainstream media has criticized the president for certain things or reported on things, almost all the time it's turned out to be accurate later on. Sources say, turned out to be accurate. Have there been incorrect reports? Yes. And the problem for the media is you can get 9 right, but if you get that 10th wrong, that's the one they're going to focus on. And they're going to say, aha, you see, you guys get it wrong. And so the media just doesn't have room for error.
You look at let me ask you about this. You look at the fact that now all of these, the traditional media platforms are owned by major publicly held corporations, all right? And you and I know from our corporations class in law school, if we remember anything from them, is that corporations, they owe responsibility to their shareholders, which means they've got to bump up their bottom line. That's their obligation. There was a time when the news outlets were getting started where basically they were owned by themselves or maybe owned by a corporation, and they said, look, we don't need you to make money. You have a public interest function here, so go do your work and don't worry about the bottom line. Nobody can say they don't worry about the bottom line anymore.
No, but the one thing I will say that should be reassuring, I think, is that the best, most unique journalism gets tons of clicks. Meaning you break a big story and it's a good story, everyone else is going to link to you. Everyone else is going to cite you. The bad news is that when lesser publications or even the most prominent ones get something wrong and they get a lot of links and clicks to it, it's a real problem. But look, I wish when we talked about fake news, right, we would you know, it's a great catchphrase. It's a beautiful marketing ploy, by the way, to discredit anything the media says. Just, it's all fake news. It's all fake news. Fake news is stuff that people are making up. And yet, you know, some Trump supporters will say they're making stuff up about it. There's going to be times when the mainstream media is getting things wrong about Donald Trump, and they ought to be called out on it. But please, let's evaluate it on a case-by-case basis. Let's not, oh, it's all fake. It's not all fake.
Hey, Dan, again, we could spend hours
Yes,
talking about
as
this.
always.
It's always a pleasure to sit down and chat with you.
Great to be
We'll do
back
it again
here, Jack.
soon.
Yep.
You be well.